Hi, everyone. It's Holly McFarland with East Texas Communities Foundation. I'm in charge of East Texas Giving Day. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes to get in and get signed in, and then we'll start the presentation. Thanks. Okay, good afternoon, everyone in the Giving Day Nation. This is Holly McFarland, like I said a moment ago, with East Texas Communities Foundation. I am the PR director here at the foundation, and of course, Giving Day is my responsibility. This year, we are introducing a new feature, which is the peer-to-peer fundraising component for Giving Days, which helps the event become even a greater social engagement opportunity for you and your nonprofit and your constituents. If you have questions as we go along, you're welcome to put those into the chat field. Again, I know that we should all be skilled at how this technology platform works at this point, but please forgive us that we are not all as up to date on things as we should be. But I will do my best to answer any of the questions that come in, and I will also make sure that we get those out to participants so that you guys can learn from each other. So this recording will be posted at easttexasgivingday.org under nonprofit resources. You are welcome to review it and watch it as often as you need to in order to feel confident in your peer-to-peer components as you work along through your Giving Day campaign. Also, this is going to be kind of a quick presentation because it's really simple. And so I think that we can get through this in a matter of minutes, not a full hour. So we're going to go ahead and get started so that you guys, so we can be mindful of your time. Okay, so a little bit about East Texas Communities Foundation. We are a nonprofit corporation, 501c3, just like you. We serve both individuals and nonprofits, and we cover 32 counties across the Northeast Texas region. We administer 5 different charitable fund types. So a little bit about those. Our one that you're probably most familiar with is donor advised funds. It's like a charitable checking account for an individual. So someone could bring us an appreciated asset, whether that's a stock or a real estate or a vehicle or oil mineral rights, something like that. It's an appreciated asset that they would bring to us, which we would convert into charitable cash. And then the owner of that donor advised fund would be able to recommend a grant out to his or her favorite charity. So donor advised funds have ramped up over the course of the past. I've been here for 6 years, and we've definitely seen an increase in their popularity because they are a great tax advantage for the person creating the fund. So we only look for those to continue to increase in popularity. A nonprofit fund benefits a single charity. ETCF provides investment management, and we can help a nonprofit receive those complex assets such as real estate, business interests, things. That way it doesn't bog the nonprofit down. They can continue to still serve their community and continue with their mission. But here at the foundation, we can help you as the nonprofit create those sustaining funds that will help your organization through tough times. Scholarship funds are, to me, very exciting because I received quite a few scholarship funds as a youth and went through college because of it. So scholarship funds are wonderful for a family or an individual to come and create here at the foundation because they can benefit a multitude of students and a multitude of schools. So if you wanted to create one for your student to go to SFA, that's fantastic. So you would go to SFA, you would, as the donor, create your scholarship fund, but it would only be for students coming in to that school, to SFA, to that university. If you created your scholarship fund here at the foundation, what makes it exciting is we can accept applications from our service area or nationwide, however the parameters are that the donor has created, and it can benefit that student to whatever school they choose to go to. So they could go to A&M, they could go to Tech, they could go to Oklahoma. It doesn't matter as long as the creator of the scholarship hasn't indicated one singular school to be the beneficiary. So they're very exciting. We just wrapped up our scholarship season on March 1, and I believe we had close to 2,000 students across our service area apply. So it's really exciting. Designated funds. Designated funds are kind of our catch-all. It could be a field of interest, which could be education or a geographical location. It could be for a specific project. It could benefit a single charity or several charities. Designated fund is kind of where we put everything that's kind of odd and has some interesting components to it. And an unrestricted fund. ETCF does not have a large unrestricted fund. However, that is where the prize money comes from for our East Texas Giving Day event. So let's go ahead and get started on peer-to-peer fundraising. Peer-to-peer fundraising is a strategy that uses the networks of your existing supporters to raise money on your behalf. So back in the old days, it would have been if you participated in a walk-a-thon or a bowl-a-thon, something like that, where you send out the call to action to your supporters and they created a team, and that team came together and contributed to the cause that was near and dear to that initial supporter's heart. So in this graphic, you can see the supporter who's most invested in your organizations in the center, and their circle of influence, which we've talked about a lot throughout the course of the history of Giving Day. That's who is going to come along and support you, fingers crossed, during East Texas Giving Day. There are benefits to engaging this network. So it's going to expand your reach. So you're going to be tapping into your core supporters' personal and professional circle of influence. It will allow you to have more engagement. It will establish more invested interest in your organization through active supporters' participation. What that is the more invested someone becomes emotionally into your mission, the more long-term of a commitment they're going to have to your organization. Stewardship. This is a prime opportunity for you as the nonprofit fundraising professional to steward these individuals. These are people who are going to engage, who are going to self-identify as your top supporter. You want to be able to create those personal connections in this exciting format and then continue to steward them after the event is over. It also creates a level of trust. It highlights existing connections with passionate supporters and allowing donors and partners to grow more confident in your cause. So if I know that I really value and I really trust, Jim's outlook, we have a lot of the same things in common, I feel like. Well, if Jim supports you, then it's going to create a level of trust that, well, Jim has found something good and golden within your organization. And, I'm going to lean more towards trusting and getting on the boat with Jim, so to speak, and trusting that your organization has a great mission. Okay, P2P has great impact. It can impact your Giving Day campaign by, again, engaging those donors. You are going to have a groundswell of individuals who want to walk along with you and be part of Giving Day, not just be invited to give, but to be a part of something. So that's the other exciting part about Giving Day is you're rallying the troops to actively do something as a part of the day and not be a passive bystander. That's one of the most contagious components of this. It exposes you to those new donors. So again, think about that circle of influence and how we are gaining traction in our communities. It will help you raise more money if it's done correctly. So on average, I believe I've seen lots of documentation from my community foundation host across the country that on average, it's anywhere between $1,200 to $2,500 extra for the nonprofits through these campaigns, through these peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns. Again, it generates social engagement because Your supporter is sharing this through their social media channels, which is just elevating you within the chatter of social media throughout the process of Giving Day, which will raise your brand awareness. And you get new contact information, which again, that's another component as to why ETCF even started East Texas Giving Day. We see new donor acquisition as a prime resource from this event. And so I think we hover between 23 and 30% of new donor acquisition throughout the Giving Days. Well, from what my research has shown is that peer-to-peer fundraising increases that even to a higher level, because you're increasing that circle of influence from your core supporter, and they're bringing new people to your mission. Okay, so we're 6 years into Giving Day, right? Why do we care about peer-to-peer now? Because fundraising is relationship building. You hear that everywhere you go, any conference that you go to. Fundraising is all about who does the ask, right? So if you want to reach board member A's bestie friend, it has to have the ask come from board member A, right? You can't go do the ask. Well, you might could, but you wouldn't generate the same kind of level of response that that board member would have. So relationships, fundraising is relationship building. This pandemic and the recent political and social tensions have made it difficult for us as fundraisers to cultivate those relationships with donors. I mean, you can have Zoom meetings. That's great. And I highly encourage you, if you haven't, you should be having Zoom donor relations meetings. But this is a more engaging opportunity, like I said, for that contributor, that supporter, to join the activities with you. P2P fundraising is rooted in relationship building between your strongest supporters and your networks. It connects people to a cause and raises their passions. So think about that as we move forward, and think about whom within your base that you could start considering as a potential fundraiser for your event. Okay, so we got to get to the nuts and bolts of how the event works, or how P2P works within the event, so that you guys can wrap your head around it. Okay, so we're going to start allowing peer-to-peer fund creation to start around April 5th. That's when your supporters can log on and create a page. This is what it's going to look like. If you were Alzheimer's Alliance of Smith County and you logged on to your page, if you're the public and you went to Alzheimer's page, this is what it would look like. Down at the bottom, it would have this little square with the positive where you could add and create a fundraiser for the nonprofit, or at the top where it says fundraise, which we're going to change the wording on that a little bit to start a fundraiser. But you could click either of these areas and it would launch into into creating your peer-to-peer page. Okay, so once the supporter has to create a donor profile. Once logged in, they can create a single page form to create the fundraiser. The form that your supporter is going to create is very simple. It only has a handful of questions. They can do it really quickly, which is part of the urgency of the event. We want this to be as least complex as possible so that the general public can do this and feel good about it. So whenever your supporter creates their donor account, this is what they're going to see: fundraiser details. They will need to create a campaign name. They will need to tell their story of why. They can add a photo or a video. They will need to set a goal of the amount of money they want to raise for your organization. And they'll create a URL link, which the URL link, hopefully you can see this, is over here to the right of the screen. And basically, it would, if the fundraiser's page name was my granny is the best, then over here in my URL I would put easttexasgivingday.org, my granny is the best. And that's how it would tag my personal fundraising page for the public to find. When completed, the supporter has to hit the publish button, which is just below this screenshot. We'll talk about it here in just a second. The supporter can save the fundraiser, but it will only go public if they publish it. And that publish button is right there. And it's at the bottom of that screen that we just looked at previously. Also, if they just saved it, then this is what they're going to see. They could come back and publish their fundraiser at a later time. Now, this individual could also start another fundraiser for another organization. They could have multiple fundraisers going for, 4 or 5 of their favorite charities. Once the fundraiser is published, this is what it's going to look like as the landing page for this organization. So Alzheimer's Alliance of Smith County is going to have these cards at the bottom where it says fundraisers for this nonprofit, and you can show them all. There's going to be, I think, 3 total here on this page, plus it'll be 2 fundraisers plus the plus sign to add a new fundraiser to it. So these will appear on the landing page for the nonprofit. The supporter who created the landing page will get an email once it's published, as will you, the organization. You will get an email that the peer-to-peer fundraiser has been published. Now, as a disclaimer, you as the host, as the landing page, as the nonprofit, have complete control over these peer-to-peer fundraisers. I encourage you that once you get the email, it'll have a link. You'll click on it and it'll take you to what that peer-to-peer page looks like. If there is anything within the context of that peer-to-peer created page that does not resonate with your messaging, that maybe presents you in a light that you are not pleased by, then I encourage you can go in to your admin and you can turn and unpublish that particular individual's fundraiser. You would then need to do some outreach and donor stewardship and communicate to that individual as to why you turned it off, how they could possibly modify their language in order to make it more in line with what you are doing. But you as the organization have complete control over if that stays alive or if it goes into the unpublished category. So don't fret over that. So me as the supporter for Alzheimer's Alliance of Smith County, this is what my page is going to look like. If I shared it with my social media networks, this is what I would share and this is what they would see. So I have set $1,000. Let's see, we'll start from the top. There's the donate button. So my circle of influence I would share this page. They could click donate now and they could make their $20 contribution. It would send an email to me as the supporter that, Jim has supported my campaign with a $20 gift. You as the nonprofit would also receive an email that says that Jim gave $20 through Holly's peer-to-peer fundraiser. So that gives you a lot of data as the nonprofit for you to communicate and steward. I want you to think about your stewarding plan moving forward because you're going to want to salute Holly for creating the fundraiser page that brought in Jim's $20, right? So think about that as your day is coming along, as your campaign is building. A really key component, and I encourage you as these peer-to-peers are coming in, is to have a photo that is meaningful. That's what makes these peer-to-peer work, is the photos need to have an image, something that resonates within the community to show this is an individual that has created this page. If it's a humane society, then it would be great if it was the supporter and their pet that they rescued, and then their why would be why this animal that they saved at the Humane Society and what it means to them. So think about those storylines as you're going along too. It also has how much this individual, the supporter, has raised. So in this example, I set $1,000 goal, and for every contributor that comes in, the circle that's gray around the $1,000 goal is going to start receding, and the money will populate in the dollars raised there in that area, and it will also fold automatically into your leaderboard totals, okay? The supporter can send this page on their social media. They could also text it out to friends. email it out to friends. There's lots of ways for those supporter and peer-to-peer campaign supporters to get this information out to their networks. So this is where you got to start thinking about how to activate your network. Peer-to-peer fundraisers have high personal buy-in. These supporters connect with their own beliefs, values, and identity to your mission, and their personal fundraising pages become a vehicle for them to express in their own words what you make them feel like. So again, like that Humane Society example, if you've rescued that pet, then that pet means a lot to you, and you connect the love to that pet to the Humane Society. That's where you got the feels from. So this is the kind of high connectivity, high buy-in of individuals and supporters that you're going to come across. This could be someone in your network that's your board member. You may want to create a board challenge. You may want to encourage your board members to express through their peer-to-peer fundraising page why they are committed to your organization and what the feels are, how it makes them feel to be a board member for your organization and the work you're doing within the community. This is a great time to engage those volunteers because they obviously love you for a reason, and this is a great way for them to express that and share it with their circle. Staff members may want to be a good resource to create a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. And think about some top donors that you might want to email out the opportunity to. It doesn't have to be those high-end, top-tier major gifts type individuals, but think about loyalty and longevity. Who's someone in your database that you know has supported your organization? It could be a small gift. It could be $20 a month, but that person is an invested person within your organization. So think about how this might be a great opportunity for them to tell the world about how great you are. Okay, so on the back end, you're logged in as a nonprofit. This is what you're going to see when you enter into your dashboard. You'll log into your nonprofit profile. You'll click My Public Profile, and the Fundraisers tab is down at the bottom on the left-hand side. That's where you're going to see all of the list of people who have created fundraisers in your honor. So for me right now, this is my test organization, and I obviously don't have any fundraisers created yet, but if I did, it would be there under active fundraisers. There's a button over here called Create a Fundraiser, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. If someone had published a fundraiser that I was not pleased with, this is once I clicked deactivate, it would then appear in this little subset down below. The Create a Fundraiser tab over here to the side allows you as the nonprofit host, the nonprofit organizer, to create a fundraiser on your own behalf. Now this could work if you're the executive director or a staff member or something like that, but I'm going to throw a cautionary tale at you. If you create a fundraiser through this method for your board member, then your board member is not really going to get any street cred for it. It's only going to show, like in this particular example, it's going to show Test HM or Holly McFarland as the creator of that fundraiser. It would not show, you know, Jim John as the fundraiser, my board member. It would not show him as the creator of that fundraiser. So there's a give and a take here. You're welcome to create your own fundraisers through this portal, but they're going to be much more effective if they have an authentic voice behind them and are created out of the desire to be a part of the day from your core constituents. Okay, so if you click that button now, because that fundraisers tab is on your dashboard now, if you click it, this is what you're going to see. You really won't be able to do anything until April 1st. Remember in the beginning I said all of this will go live April 5th. We will start turning it on around April 1st, so there's a little bit of wiggle room and play time in between there if you decided as a staffer that you wanted to go through the motions and create one. Okay, so how can you help your peer-to-peer fundraiser? We at the foundation will provide you with some clear instructions that you can share with supporters that want to create a fundraising page. The PDF will be available online for you to download. This is the why. Help your supporters craft their story about how your nonprofit is connected to them. Keep the focus on them. That's what resonates within their friends to compel them to donate. The who. Encourage volunteers to create a list of whom they might want to support and share their fundraiser with. So if you're working with a volunteer that's close to you or a board member who's close with your organization, you could tell them and walk them through steps to think about whom they would want to share their freshly created fundraising peer-to-peer page with. If it's, Jim off the street that you didn't know was going to create you a page, this might be a step that you may not be able to work. But if it is someone close to you that is coming along and creating these peer-to-peer and you're kind of involved in the process, encourage them to be thinking about how they were going to connect with their network. The when and where of it all, help them outline a communications plan. Sharing it on social media is not enough. This person could want to text, they could want to email. You want them to reach out one-to-one on their networks, and social media is going to be the predominant way of getting this information out. And you want them to set a goal that's realistic. So when on my example for the Smith County Alzheimer's Alliance, I had a $1,000 goal. I think that is a very entry level goal that someone could create. If they wanted to create a $500 goal or a $100 goal, that is fabulous. Anything that this peer community can do to help your organization raise money is golden. So I just would encourage the potential person to maybe not set like a $50,000 goal, but hey, if they've got that kind of friends, then they're my friend too. Okay, so I'll provide these to you as well. This is a peer-to-peer fundraising letter that you might want to harvest from and send out to your networks. This is asking people to become a peer-to-peer fundraiser, what they could do for your organization. So down here, if you scroll down, it says, here's where you can make a difference. That's where you're doing your ask. That's where you're inviting them to take a part, an active participation level. We need help spreading awareness for our Giving Day campaign. We want to raise blank on East Texas Giving Day to reach our goal of blah. Whatever that is, you need to equate it so that the public understands what is being asked of them. Just like your children, we all need clear instructions. There are two things that you can do to help us. Number one, share the campaign. You're not asking them to invest anything more than their time and effort. You want them to share that East Texas Giving Day is going on and that your organization is a part of it. Now, if they are so inclined, number two is create your own fundraising campaign. And this is where you do the soft sell. If you do nothing more than create an email like this or a letter and send it out to your followers, your constituents base, this is a step in the right direction. You've at least made people aware. So I encourage you to consider doing this in your campaign to get the word out. If you're sending an email, don't forget to put the make a donation button, because it's great that you've asked them to spread the word. It's great that you've asked them to create a fundraising page. Making a donation is the most instant gratification thing they could do. So do not forget to make this donation link and make it directly to your landing page so that the recipient of this email doesn't have to hunt and find you. You want them to find you first and then find other nonprofits they love once they get to the page. So make sure that if you do an email that you do follow those basic rules of engagement. So again, I will make sure that you get these example peer-to-peer letters and emails that you can edit and do whatever you need to with, put them on your letterhead to make them fit your work. Okay, so communications is key. Send thank you notes to donors and P2P creators. So between now, or starting April 5th and April 26th, if anyone creates a peer-to-peer fundraiser page, you're going to know about it. You get an email instantly once that is published. Write a thank you note. Get that off your plate. All you're doing is saying, thanks for taking the time to support our organization. We wish you the best of luck. I will provide you any outreach support that you need to make this a success. We are looking forward to the day. It doesn't have to be anything glamorous, exciting. You don't have to send them swag. Just send them a note saying, I recognize that you've done this on our behalf. share those peer-to-peer pages on your social media platforms. If Jim has gone to the effort to create a P2P, share it, get it out there, help him out, help a friend's helping you, you help that friend. You may remind the campaign supporters of prizes. So, you know, one of the things that every year we hear from the donors is that they are unaware that you guys as nonprofits had the ability to win prizes because of their contributions throughout the day. So help them out. If Jim has created a peer-to-peer page, let him know that if he really pushes and works hard between 1 and 2, then you have the potential at your nonprofit to earn prize B, whatever it is. And again, those prizes will be announced on April 1st. So there's plenty of time. You will know April 1st, and the peer-to-peer won't officially launch to the public until April 5th. So there's plenty of time for you to help these guys or girls become more engaged and more aware of the benefits of participation. And then invite those peer-to-peer those peer-to-peer supporters to follow your social media networks. If they haven't already, they have self-indicated that they love your organization. Invite them to be more involved. Okay, so words of caution. Do not create a peer-to-peer fundraising page under your own nonprofit login. We talked about that earlier. You can create maybe for your staff. You could create one maybe for a volunteer that doesn't want the recognition but wants to kind of help a little bit. But it's really best if they come from the authentic voice of the individual who's creating those peer-to-peer campaigns. Like I said, if board member Jim is willing to do it, if you have to go to his office or his house or his cell phone and help him create his own fundraiser page, I encourage you to do it. If you want to help the board member create their peer-to-peer campaign, wait until the platform goes live on April 5th. Create the donor account using the board member's email so that their name shows up on the campaign and they get all of the emails from whenever donations come in from their campaign. That's what you want. You want them to be in the know. All right, so down to donor stewardship. Don't miss this chance to steward these individuals. This was a great example. I wish I could have gotten this to embed. Again, not necessarily the most skilled sometimes when it comes to PowerPoint, but this was from Texas Giving Day, our big brothers up in Dallas area. This individual nonprofit, the Hendricks Scholarship Foundation, rewarded their highest performer fundraiser supporter. So the gentleman that you see on the right had the most income through his fundraising page for this on behalf of this nonprofit. So they rewarded him. They took him a certificate saying that he was the bomb diggity. They carried him a yard sign, and that's a great marketing strategy because now he's got this yard sign that he's really proud of. It's kind of like my kid was the overachiever this month at the elementary school, and so the yard signs in our front yard, it's a way to indicate to the neighborhood that my kid's he's a super duper guy. So same thing with this. You want this particular supporter who took the time out of their day to create a campaign on your behalf to feel loved. So again, carry them some cookies, create this award, celebrate it, record it as you go to their as you can tell, they're socially distant, and they are rewarding this individual for his efforts for Giving Day. He raised over $10,000. Goodness gracious, we'd all be excited about that. Okay, so I wanted you guys to have a little bit of a timeline in your head as we move forward. So support materials for East Texas Giving Day peer-to-peer will start appearing on the resources page of the Giving Day portal. On April 5th, supporters can begin creating those peer-to-peer campaigns. You can coach, communicate to those supporters. You want to cheer them on and encourage their efforts. On April 27th, celebrate the success of those peer-to-peer supporters. So it's Giving Day. You've got a lot going on. I know you do. However, this is just one more step in the day's activities. You're going to be getting all those messages about Jim's campaign creating X amount of dollars. You need to email or call Jim and say, wow, Jim, you're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. We have until midnight. Okay. this is a great opportunity for day of engagement for this for these community supporters. And in May, you're going to want to, again, celebrate those supporters by thank you notes. Like I said, creating that reward system like you just saw about the scholarship folks on the slide before. You may want to invite those peer-to-peer supporters over to your office in small groups for lunch. You may want to, there's lots of different ways that your organization would possibly want to steward, but I encourage you to start thinking about how proceeding forward that you could do that. This is an example of a document that's already out there on the nonprofit resources page that we will share and encourage you to share with potential supporters of your organization. This is 6 easy steps on how to create your own fundraiser, and it's available now. You can take this PDF and attach it into your emails moving forward once you start soliciting fundraisers for your event. Okay, hey, and because it's kind of something fun and new, I want you guys to have some prize money. So the nonprofit with the most money raised collectively through their peer-to-peer fundraisers is going to get a bonus prize of $300. So let's say you have Jim, John, and Jane, and they've all created a peer fundraiser, and they all raise $1,000 each, and say $3,000 is the most money raised through peer-to-peer fundraisers for any nonprofit that has participated in Giving Day, you would win the $300 prize. Again, that's going to be a prize that we have to award after Giving Day, because I'm going to have to do some math to see who has the most fundraisers and the most monies raised to those fundraisers. But anyway, it is a potential for some more prize money, so it's kind of exciting, and you know, we're looking forward to seeing what the outcomes of this whole peer-to-peer thing are. So we are winding down towards the end of this. We have a few upcoming webinars left, y'all. We are less than 60 days from Giving Day itself. We have Social Media Advanced, which is next Tuesday. We'll have a prize webinar on the 30th and a donor stewardship training that we've pushed to before Giving Day instead of having it after Giving Day, so that you guys can implement some of those tips and tricks that we share with you through your campaign process. So you can register for all of these seminars online through easttexasgivingday.org nonprofit resources, or you can go directly to our East Texas Communities Foundation website at etcf.org. So I haven't seen any questions come up yet in the chat box, but I'm still waiting, or you could possibly unmute yourself if you want to just verbally commit and ask a question now. There are no bad questions, so feel free to ask. Again, this is an important date timeline. I want you guys to think about it. Nonprofit registration ends on March 31st, so we are definitely in the final days and final phase of registration. We're at 145 participants so far, and we always have a whole handful that come in towards that final registration time. Your profile is locked on April 21st, which means you cannot make any edits after that. But you can change your match funds, you can change staff contacts, anything like that, anytime, your photos, anytime between now and April 21st. That pre-scheduled giving starts on April 5th, and the big day is April 27th. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at hmcfarland@etcf.org. You can call our offices at 903-533-0208. And again, I guess I don't see any questions, so I'm assuming that we're all good. But again, I will make sure that this is posted as soon as possible on the easttexasgivingday.org nonprofit resources tab of our website, and you can watch it and share it with your other members on staff. And that pretty much wraps it up for us now. And I look forward to having you at the next webinar. So see you soon. Thanks. It's going to be good, y'all. See ya.